I think we'll just start the meeting then. This is the Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting for the city of St. Louis. Today is Thursday, January 19th, 2023. It is 3:03 p.m. and my name is Linnea Magnuson and I chair the commission. And we will proceed according to the agenda. And let me just bring that up for you. Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda is the roll call of Soldiers Memorial Commissioners. So I'll start with Commissioner Corinne Barget.
Here.
Okay, and Commissioner Freddie Dunlap. No. Commissioner Fletcher.
Here.
Commissioner Hansis, we know is a no. I'm here. And Commissioner Yampolsky, don't see him. No. Is there anyone I forgot? I don't think so at this point. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. And Commissioner Fletcher, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I think we might have a quorum here. Let me just check. Actually, we do not have a quorum, so we will have to table the November 17th, 2022 meeting minutes until the next meeting. So then we'll just move on the agenda. And the next thing we have is the introduction of Don Avon. I hope I'm saying that right. Newly appointed chair of the Missouri Historical Society Soldiers Memorial Committee. And Mark is going to introduce Mr. Avon for us.
Sure. I'll just remind everybody back in the winter of boy, I'm forgetting my years. I think it was in the winter of 21 and the early spring of 21. We stood up a committee, a subcommittee for the Missouri Historical Society Board of Trustees, which focuses exclusively on Soldiers Memorial. So I believe there are a total of, Karen could probably correct me, I think 10 committees at this point. Right, 10 subcommittees of the Board of Trustees. So the Soldiers Memorial Committee is one of those committees, and since it was founded in 21, Harry Rich, who some of you should recall, served as the chair, and then just recently this fall, we transitioned from Harry to Don. And Don is a U.S. Army veteran and a graduate of West Point, the U.S. Military Academy. Don, I'll turn it over to you and let you
Sure.
in your remarks.
Great. Thanks, Mark. And I look forward to meeting all of you. Thanks for having us. So as Mark said, despite him being an Air Force Academy grad and myself being a West Point Academy grad, we are getting along great and looking forward to making a contribution at Soldiers Memorial. I work at Edward Jones. I'm a partner there. Started at Jones in '94. My wife also works there. She's been an advisor there for 29 years. We've got 4 kids and was the former board chair of the West Point Society in the St. Louis area. And so I've got some connections there and look forward to being involved. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Don.
Welcome.
Welcome, for sure.
All right.
And I guess we can move on to Mark again, if he can give us a report on operations, basically what's going on at Soldiers Memorial.
Sure. I'll start out with operations. I think probably one of the more important things right now is just last Friday, we posted a position for a digital media developer. And this is really something new for us. This is the position that Lindsay Davis had filled and was filled previously by some other folks, and their focus was pretty tightly on collaborating with community partners to especially for the development of what I refer to as one-off programs. So they're, you know, a lecture on some historical topic that's related to our mission. And, you know, we really struggled with attendance to those programs. And so part of a new strategy is to begin developing a lot of content that can be accessed online, especially the development of videos, short videos. And they would, this person who takes this position would develop those videos. So, and they'll work closely alongside either, you know, Mike Venzel, the curator, or Kate and the collections manager, or Ella, the assistant collections person, or myself. And the goal for this person is to create 4 videos a month, one that focuses on a memorialized individual, you know, somebody who is represented in the court of honor, another one that would focus on a artifact in the collections, do kind of an artifact highlight, another one which would include an oral history segment. We have a number of oral histories that, you know, that span all different conflicts, going all the way back to World War II. So either including one of those segments, or finally a 4th video each month, which would be kind of a veteran resource. So some organization or offering that's out there that we would like to bring attention to veterans, that this is a thing that's available for them. So this person doesn't really need to have a lot of history skills. I mean, that would be a bonus, but certainly what they do need is some skills with camera, lighting equipment, some audio equipment, and then especially the kind of the post-production software. So, you know, whether that's Adobe Premiere or something else that can help produce these videos. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, it's really, you know, an area that we have not, a direction that we haven't gone in before, as far as trying to deliver historical content to the public. We hope that, you know, one of the goals here is to put more content out and more accessible to more individuals who then, you know, discover Soldiers Memorial maybe for the first time, learn about what's happening here, and then hopefully that progresses into, you know, some deeper involvement, whether it's a visit or attending a Memorial Day ceremony or Veterans Day parade or something along those lines. So that's posted. If you know anybody who you know, may have those skills or may be interested, let me know. I'm happy to share that link with you and get that going. So that's probably the bigger thing that's happening. Some other things that have happened. The store has returned. Store might be a little grandiose of a term. It really is a bookshelf store that offers, you know, some, you know, small items for the public to pick up while they're here, whether that's a magnet that has an image of the building, or a magnet has an image of the Hillis Arnold Monument, but just small things like that. There's a few books, but really just something that they can go home with. We have been selling challenge coins out of there. Those have probably proven our most popular item, and they're kind of generic in nature. They're either, you know, U.S. Army, Air Force, Marines, you know, a branch coin, or a Vietnam veteran coin. That those have been selling well with the exhibit. So it's doing well. People seem to, you know, really appreciate being able to pick up at least a little something to take home. I wanted to talk about attendance, and this is really some rather fantastic news. So for the time period November 11th through January 15th, I looked at the last 4 years of attendance for that time period. And I picked November 11th because that's when we opened the Vietnam exhibit. So in 2019, you know, December of 2019 through January 2020, we had an attendance of just over 4,600. The following year, 2020, which would have been kind of the, the not quite the deep depths of the COVID pandemic, but certainly, as we had come out and we're suffering from that still, attendance that year was 781. So we lost nearly 4,000 individuals in attendance. We rebounded a little bit in 21. We got up to just over 1,100, 1,112. And this year, we're back to over 4,000. So between November 11th and January 15th, just a few days ago, attendance was 4,116. So just a bit below 2019. But, that was one of, besides all the community connections and the educational value that the Vietnam exhibit was bringing, we had really hoped that one of the goals was to bring people back and to, get Soldiers Memorial back to where we think it can be in terms of attendance and whatnot. So, I feel like we've done that. It's been incredibly, feeling really good about where we're at with numbers, and they can always improve. You can always, try to do better and improve, obviously, but getting back over that 4,000 mark, which we haven't seen since 2019, December of 2019, January 20, certainly feels good. The average daily attendance, so operations have changed a little bit. If you recall, back in 19 and 20, before the pandemic, we were open every day. We changed that when we went into the when we came out of the pandemic, when we reopened to the public for the first time in the summer of 20, following the heavy hits from the pandemic. We opened only Wednesday through Sunday, and we've stuck with that. And the average daily attendance I can report in that 2019, so really that first normal year, I guess I'd call it, we had an average daily attendance of 74. And now we're at 98 people a day. So it's gone up. The average daily has gone up. Of course, we're closed 2 days a week, which means that the visitors are kind of compacting themselves into the 5 open days that we have, which is good. And so attendance is looking up. The goal for 2023 is to get above 35,000. In 2019 we got over 37,000, so we're hopeful that we can get back up to at least 35,000. I think with some strong programming around Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and some other key days, we can reach that. That's a lot of numbers. I hope that all made sense. I know if you want me to repeat anything or clarify, I certainly can. But I know it's.
I had a question from the video content.
Yeah.
Presentation you gave. So how will you promote this, or how will you access this video, or who will it go out to?
Primarily, it'll be pushed out through social media channels, but then also live on a YouTube channel, which exists now for soldiers. It's part of the larger MHS YouTube offerings. It's kind of a sub channel, I guess you'd call it. And so it'll live there, and then primarily be pushed out through social media, but also through the e-newsletter. So hopefully you're all signed up for that, and that through that we're able to do links. And we certainly could do a blog post that embeds some of these videos and expands upon the video itself. So there's some options there as well. So.
And actually, is there any plans to ever open again? Or are you going to stay closed for the indefinite future on Mondays and Tuesdays? I'm just curious, just wondering.
Yeah, I think the plan is to stay closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. It makes a really significant kind of operational difference in terms of staffing and scheduling, which we're pretty thin on, especially when it comes to the basic necessity of like covering the front desk and things like that, and being open essentially 40 hours a week. Make sure that at a minimum we're going to have somebody that can do a good job at that front desk of greeting and orientating people to the site and whatnot. And when you push into the 7-day schedule,
It's a lot.
Yeah, it becomes a lot, and all of a sudden you need two staff members to cover that, that one position. So, so it makes a pretty big difference. And I think as long as we see, I was explaining how we've seen the uptick in the average daily attendance, which is one way that I'm interpreting that, and I hope that this is correct, is that people are, they're adjusting, right? That they've adjusted to a 7-day schedule to a 5-day schedule, and they're making their visits accordingly. I hope that that's an accurate interpretation. And
I was wondering, like with the video content production, is there one of the goals then to bring more people downtown to the museum as well?
yeah, I think long range, right? I think it's a part of, kind of a long range relationship building strategy where if we can get more people interested through a more robust online digital media offering, that they're, it excites them and they want to be more involved. And then that, translates into visits to Soldiers Memorial. So in hitting on those 4 aspects, I think covers our mission nicely, where we're looking at, the museum aspect through the artifacts, the memorial aspect through stories of the individuals who are memorialized, and also the oral histories. And then that role of serving as a location for veterans, and sharing some of those veteran resources. Hopefully all of that, the goal there is that it translates into a deeper commitment by individuals, and they, want to make that visit. And then hopefully then that continues to expand their involvement, where they, really are supporting either vocally or, within their friends networks, and sharing information. So I would add on to that we're working on a 5-year plan right now, and what that, and that's obviously a big part of that, but also a look at audience and who is coming, who's not coming, and how, we can reach people who aren't coming, and what tools we can use that are available. Moving into exhibits, Vietnam at War and at Home has proved very popular. Like I said earlier, it's brought our attendance back to our near 2019 levels. Reviews have been incredibly positive. I think the way that the exhibit is set up with the at war and the at home side, it really allows people to understand alternative viewpoints, things that they may not have considered. It also, I think, even maybe more importantly, there's so many entry points for personal connections. And I think, both through the individuals like Ron Bozikas and Michael Blasey, who have, these strong St. Louis connections, people come, and when you give a tour to, St. Louisans, they recognize these high schools that these guys went to, they recognize the names, and they, start to build that really kind of immediate connection to the exhibit, and then also to Soldiers Memorial. So it's really great. Yesterday we had about 20 mostly Vietnam veterans here from Warrenton, who were in. They were a number of Vietnam combat veterans, and part of that actually, the visit itself was great, and meeting all those individuals was wonderful. A little bit of strategy for us. One of the individuals in that group was Vic Muschler, who is one of the key figures in the national foundation that organizes the Vietnam Traveling Wall. And so Mike Benso and myself have had multiple conversations with Vic, and the one on yesterday went really well. And, the goal is to bring the Vietnam Traveling Wall to downtown St. Louis in the spring of 24. So we'll see if that can happen. But Vic has really come along. We have met with, like I said, a few times. Originally, he was a little bit shy about the idea of bringing the wall to the downtown setting, worried about, security and and whatnot. And but I'd say that he's really kind of come along, and I think he's going to be an advocate for us when we submit our application. And I think he'll be a proponent for bringing it here, which would be a wonderful thing and for the community. I know it's been here before, Linnea. I don't know if you remember the year that the last year it was here. I think it was maybe late 90s or
No, it was here in
Sooner?
2015.
which one? 15?
2015, yeah, June of 2015.
Okay.
Yep. And
So,
park just to the west of Soldiers Memorial.
okay. To the west, not,
Mhm. It was in American Legion Park.
Yeah, I could,
Okay.
yeah, we had it in the American Legion Park. This is sort of before before the History Museum got involved with things. So we
Okay.
brought it here.
I think we might be looking at, well, there's a lot of discussion yet for this, but I think we might be looking at Elker, which is the park immediately to our east. Mostly because it comes with a 53-foot traveling. This might be an addition since the last time it was around, but it's a full semi-length trailer that has some educational components. So kind of the sides flip up and there's kind of these
That's
built
there
in.
too, I think. They had a trailer too.
Okay,
And, there were also some Marines that came with it. And then we had a lot of people from Scott Air Force Base who we contacted to volunteer
okay,
as not security so much as, well, I guess you could say security, but just people walking around and helping people and just making sure there are no issues with anything. But it was a really good experience. And yeah, I think it'd be a good thing. But will have been 9 years since it's been here last time. So it was,
Yeah.
The thing about the park on the west is that there's a lot of parking around it, and there's that big, chestnut there. It's an easy, well, Poker has the same thing. It's an easy place to put, extra vehicles and that sort of thing. There's parking for volunteers on that side over there more
Sure.
so. And it's also the American Legion Park, which seemed important to us at the time. That
Yeah.
we use that park for that reason. So, but I
Okay.
have a lot of notes from that, and I've got a lot of pictures in that too, if you want to see.
Oh,
those, I can
yeah,
go-
that would be great, Linnea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
That'd be excellent. Yeah, we want
By the way, there was no problem getting people to volunteer to help with that. That was an easy one for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. We hope that, we're going to try to time it so it is up right towards the end of the exhibit here. So hopefully it'll be can be a big weekend. You can come down and see the wall. You can see the exhibit here. Hopefully it'll offer a lot for visitors. And just convinced that we need that type of thing in the downtown setting to, continually to do that type of thing that, overcomes, some of the inhibitions to, approaching the downtown setting. I know we run into that a lot where, outdoor stuff, people get very nervous about security. And I think the more stuff like this that we do, the more it helps, and can start to sway some opinions on that.
It'd be really cool if you had some, helicopters and things there too. That would be-
Yeah, it would be great. We'll definitely work on that.
Yeah, that's fun.
And one more thing in terms of exhibits, April 1st through the 30th, the VA is bringing, this is the 42nd annual National Veterans Creative Arts Festival, which I just learned about, but it's been going on for 42 years. The VA coordinates it each year, and it travels across the country. So this year it's in St. Louis. They approached us, I don't know, a few months ago, and asked if the winning artwork could be displayed here at Soldiers. So for the month of April, the artwork will be displayed in the Jack C. Taylor Assembly Hall. So that the VA is beyond excited that they have a kind of a real museum institution where this can be, where the public can see it and have some access to it. So we're pretty excited about that. Hopefully that again raises more awareness about Soldiers Memorial and what's all here. Some other upcoming programs this Sunday, or I'm sorry, this Saturday, if you're ready to do some yoga, Yoga Buzz will be here at Soldiers Memorial at 10:30. This is kind of a fun partnership with them. We did this back in 2019, and we had this big dream of we were going to do yoga outdoors, and then COVID hit and it squashed all that. But you know, we were trying to reach a veteran audience, especially a younger veteran audience, folks who, you know, may be dealing with some challenges in terms of PTSD or other challenges from service. And so it's free to veterans and active military. There's a small fee for the general public. So on Saturday, it's obviously will be indoors here up in the two meeting rooms. It's fun. It's not the real challenging yoga. It's the more like relaxing, stretching type of yoga, the stuff that I could do, you know, stuff like that. And then we'll see where that goes if conversations pick back up with them, and if we want to look at a more longer term program, but we'll see how it goes. And then on February 24th, Friday, Dr. David Lukander, we're flying him in, and he's going to give a presentation, Victory at Home and Abroad, Civil Rights During World War II. Of course, the arsenal got, you know, kind of negatively involved with that, I guess, but there's certainly a St. Louis story looking at, you know, employment discrimination and other things that were happening during World War II. So he's coming to talk about that on kind of the national scale. And then on March 24th, there'll be a virtual program. This is a professor from Clemson who's going to give a presentation on the myths of Tet. He's written a book on the Tet Offensive, and, you know, a lot of misunderstandings about, you know, what actually happened and how that ramifications played out. That's right on the heels of the anniversary of Johnson's announcement that he wouldn't seek or accept the nomination. So Dr. Muiz is going to kind of tie that presentation into that anniversary as well. And then Wednesday, March 29th is Vietnam Veterans Day. So we're going to be offering tours of the exhibit all day long, 3 guided tours, and then all Vietnam veterans will receive a free lapel pin as well when they visit. And then finally, one other program that's upcoming, Sunday, April 16th. This is a ways down the road, but we're partnering with the Vietnamese community of St. Louis. We'll be showing some segments of the film Heaven and Earth, which looks at life as a civilian South Vietnamese during the war and kind of how all that played out. So they'll be showing segments of the film, and then they'll be interspersed with a panel discussion of individuals from the Vietnamese community here in St. Louis. Moving into collections, I don't have a lot to report here. The acquisitions committee meets next week, January 24th. Typically, we try to have that committee meet just before this meeting, but there are some scheduling issues. So it's next week, the 24th. So at the next commission meeting, we'll be able to report out on what activity happened then. And then also in terms of the collection, the Vietnam exhibit is definitely driving Vietnam veterans and others to think about what they have in their possession, their own personal artifacts. And I think we're certainly going to see some donations start to come from that community, which will be a good thing. The Soldiers Memorial collection is not particularly strong on the Vietnam era. I think mostly because so many of those individuals just haven't really let go of those artifacts yet. And so the exhibit, I think, will end up driving artifact donations related to the Vietnam War. And we definitely have had some conversations and have seen some of that start to develop. So that's all I have, Linnea.
That's great. My God.
I didn't go too long, but
No, that was really good. Really good, Mark. Anybody have any questions for Mark? Okay, well, I guess I'll call for questions, new business and announcements? Anything? Again, welcome to Mr. Avon to the meetings and also to the Soldiers Memorial Committee. All
Oh,
right,
I guess we should say Happy New Year, right?
Happy New Year, absolutely.
Happy New Year.
Most of you in person or since the new year, so
Yeah,
just wanted to say
absolutely.
that.
Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Jason, a second.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, thank you, Corinne.
We can't hear you, Linnea.
Really? Can you
Oh,
guys-
now we can. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so, having. Here we go now. So, second the motion, so, the meeting is adjourned at 3:34 PM. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.